The purpose of this tutorial is to discuss how Excel handles mixed references in formulas when they're copied from one cell to another. Now, in order to understand mixed references, you really have to have a clear understanding of absolute and relative references. So if you're still not up to speed on those concepts, I strongly recommend that you go back and review that tutorial before proceeding with this one. So, for mixed references, though, what it will do is it will allow us to take a single formula and copy it both across a worksheet and down a worksheet. Keep in mind that if you're entering a formula and it's going to stay in either the same column you entered it or it's going to stay in the same row that you entered it, mixed references really aren't necessary, so you don't need to worry about them. But in the example I have here on my screen, I'm trying to create a simple multiplication table. So I want to enter a formula here that will take the 1 times the 1. And then I want to copy that formula down this column and then across all columns so that this formula will calculate the 1. The formula in here will say 1 times 2. And the formula down here will say 6 times 2. So let's see how we do that. I'm going to start off with my formula and I'm going to say equal, and then I'm clicking in the formula or in the 1 that is directly above the formula, and then I'm going to say times this one. Now, those are entered by default as relative references, so if I copy the formula, it's going to update those references based upon where I copy it to. And I don't want that to happen. In this case of B2, okay, which is coming from up here, when I copy this formula down to this cell, I want that to stay B2. And in this cell, I want it to be B2, and this cell B2. However, when I copy it over to this one, I want the cell reference of B2 to update to C2. So what I'm really saying is I want you to fix the row of 2, but you can vary the column. So to do that, I'm going to press my F4 key, and I pressed it 2 times, and now it says $2. The $ denotes the part of the cell reference that is fixed when Excel moves the formula. So when I copy this formula from this cell over to this cell, it will leave the B, it will update based upon the column I've put it into, but it will always leave the 2 as row 2. Now, I'm moving on to the A3 reference. Now, A3 is going to be this 1. And when I copy this formula across this row, I want to point at A3 for all of these values. However, when I copy the formula down this direction, I want it to come from A2 here, A3 here, A4 here. So in this case, I want to fix the column but vary the row. So I'm going to press F4 again until I get $A3. And that says the column's fixed, but I'll vary the row for you. So let's look at how this works. Now in this case, I started off with $2 times $A3, and I'm going to copy it across one row. Okay? So let's see what we got. And in this case, it came out and said C2 times A3. Perfect. Let's take it across the row all the way. Let's look at this one. Notice I got G2 times A3. And now let's take it down through the remainder of the sheet. And it worked perfect. Down here, notice it went from G2, the 6, times A12. So those are mixed references. By pressing the F4 key, it will denote the part of the reference that you want to leave fixed so it doesn't change with the copy. Remember, the F4 key is a toggle switch, so just keep pressing it until you find the value that's right for your formula.